Funding for DNews has been provided by the Cal and Lucille Rudman Institute for Entertainment Industry Studies.
Coming up, something is brewing at Drexel and Halloween on the cheap on this episode of DNews.
Hello, and welcome to DNews. We're at the bustling quad at Drexel. We start the program with a visit to the Peck Research Center, where something special is brewing.
On Thursday nights, in the Academic Bistro, you can find Professor Lynn Hoffman teaching everything there is to know about beer.
The theme for today's discussion is color is a liar. Here's how that happens. Let's say color has nothing to do with the taste of beer. Very little.
Professor Hoffman says beer is a big deal these days.
Well, I started the class because I love beer. But the need for the class is that beer is a bigger part of the hospitality business every year, and it is no longer enough to know the names of 3 major brands. It's a very complex and entertaining kind of field. And there are people, as you could probably see from the class, there are people who are passionate about it.
The course was open to the public and drew a diverse crowd, including industry professionals.
I'm actually a sales representative for Finch's Beer Company out of Chicago, and I was just looking to broaden my horizons a little bit. Never hurts to have more knowledge on my profession.
Drexel students jumped at the opportunity too.
Well, it's my last year at Drexel, so I wanted to take something fun. I tried to take it last year, but I couldn't get into it. So I just, I like beer, but I don't really know anything about it, so I wanted to learn more.
Lynn Hoffman loves speaking about beer. His love of drinking it reached new heights after a recent health crisis.
A couple years ago, I was diagnosed with throat cancer. I lost my ability to drink wine because your mouth is devastated by the radiation. The tannins in wine are kind of abusive. And in fact, I lost my ability for about a year to taste anything. And when that ability came back, I still couldn't drink wine. So beer is now the locus of all of my deliciousness. If I'm looking for something to drink with dinner, it's almost always beer.
This class is unlike any other at Drexel.
This bouquet, this is more complicated than anything we've smelled all night. It has more going on than all of them put together. What are those aromas? Finally,
We asked what beer Professor Hoffman would drink if he could only drink one beer for the rest of his life.
I'd shoot myself. If I could drink one beer for the rest of my life, I'd shoot myself.
For DNews, I'm Matt Yondell.
A Mantua art studio is at the center of a long-running controversy. I had the chance to find out why.
The Dupre Studio Museum is one of the most eccentric buildings in the community of Mantua, and the studio's owner, James Dupre, wants to keep it that way.
I went to art school for 9 years. I studied painting, drawing, printmaking, ceramics, and sculpture, fine arts, but I started out as an illustrator.
Nearly a decade ago, Mr. Dupre, a distinguished alumnus of the University of Pennsylvania, returned to the neighborhood of his youth to establish a new studio.
I fell in love with this building immediately. I bought it for a couple $100,000, a little less than that, but that was everything I had. I had to borrow a little money then to fix it up. And everything I had is invested into this property.
Dupre saw huge possibilities in Mantua, and before long, he was looking to expand.
About 7 years ago, I had contacted the city to actually purchase one of the lots next door. And I was then told this was an area for future development.
Dupre says the city offered money for his existing space and the chance to purchase another city-owned property.
I thought everything was taken care of and I was to move on. I thought 7 years ago that this was all resolved.
But there were problems with the developers of the relocated properties. So he wound up staying put.
5 years later, I get a letter that my deed has been seized by the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority. How do you seize a homeowner's free and clear deed if they're not 3 to 5 years in back taxes or the building is not condemnable? Well, how do they do that? Through the laws of eminent domain.
Mr. Dupre has since taken the issue to the courts in an effort to protect himself and others from having their homes demolished.
It was never about money. It's about this law taking my free and clear deed and then offering me what I know is 1/4 fourth the amount that I think I could get if I put this on a free market, I was happy. I'm happy here.
We reached out to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority, which offered this written statement. It is always the goal of the city and the Redevelopment Authority to use eminent domain as a last resort. However, there are still plans in place for the area that will include a supermarket. Dupre says the uncertainty has taken a toll.
As this law ruined your life, in my situation, ruined my health, ruined my marriage, ruined my bank account, ruined my day-to-day uncertainty. What's going to happen today? What's going to happen tomorrow? I'm living in hell. It's now on the front of the building for everybody to see.
To learn more about James Dupre, you can go to saveduprestudios.org or visit his studio at 36th and Haverford, open to the public every Thursday. For DNews, I'm John LaRussa.
Back on campus, fans of the cult favorite TV show Arrested Development got an inside scoop on the Bluths from the show's creator, Mitchell Hurwitz.
This is Michael Bluth. He's a good man. For 10 years, he's worked for his father's company waiting to be made a partner. And right now, he's happy.
Hurwitz was on board in 2003 when the show began. He took some unusual risks by using foreshadowing in the early scripts.
I just thought, I just want there to be things that will pay off later. It was an audacious thought because we weren't even guaranteed that we get reruns or be on DVD.
But his plan did pay off, and one of TV's quirkiest families became a cult favorite.
Embrace the fact that this story, this family is so much in each other's web, and they're so enmeshed that even when they're apart, there's connectivity, that there's a cause and effect in everything they do, that they're their own worst enemies.
Many of the show's gags were hilarious, but some people were not amused.
In the fourth season, we did this thing where we had the Google car. I needed another funny car for Michael. So like, would it be funny if he's driving the Google car? And then Google said, we do not give you the permission to use our image. It was like, well, thank you for the joke, because now I'm mad. Do you mean that car that takes a picture of my house?
After 3 bumpy years on Fox with little promotion, the show was canceled.
It became really clear that Rupert Murdoch wasn't a Rupert Murdoch show. Like, he ran Fox, he was the head, he still is, and I think he always liked the show, but he kind of thought, it's an HBO show, it's not our show.
Incredibly, 7 years later, Arrested reappeared on Netflix.
Once it was like on iTunes and things like that, on DVD, once it was on a medium where you had to choose to watch it, and that's the revolution, really. Mm-hmm. It's just, you're giving something your attention.
Finally, Hurwitz offered some advice that helped him through some tough times.
All the things in life are trying to sabotage that original idea. At first, I mean, you know, if you're trying to create a vision, it's just applying yourself. It's grit. It's just perspiration. It's all those things. It's blasting through your fear of finding out you're not talented. Because that's still there. Like, the antidote to me to that self-consciousness sometimes is curiosity.
For DNews, I'm Kathy White.
On this Halloween night, is your outfit costing you an arm and a leg? Rachel Violi found a cheap way to trick and treat.
This time of year, Drexel senior Erica Rodriguez looks for a bargain, but they're hard to find. So she usually winds up creating her own Halloween costume on a budget of under $20.
There's a lot of benefits. If you're gonna buy a costume, it's like $50, $60 in a Halloween store, and that's ridiculous. So I like to make my costumes because it only costs like $20 if I have to buy stuff. And if people ask you like, oh my god, your costume's awesome, you have the pride and honor of saying, well, I made it.
But how to do it? Erica says no sewing experience, no problem.
I actually am not a sewer, so I can sew a little bit, but I don't have a sewing machine. But they actually have at Joann Fabrics this tape that you can use. So you just put the tape in between 2 pieces of fabric and iron it on, and it sticks together perfectly, so you don't have to sew at all, and that's how I make most of my costumes. The tape probably costs about like under $5, probably like $3 to $4.
She's been doing it herself for a few years.
Last year I was Wonder Woman, and that's what we're making today. And then one year I was a Crush soda can. My friend and I made ourselves our little costume. And then my first Halloween costume ever that I made, I was 14 years old. I was a scarecrow.
Aww.
Yep.
The Wonder Woman costume was so quick and easy to make that she recreated it just for us.
Well, I already had blue pants, blue shorts, and a red shirt, so I didn't have to buy any clothing. I also had these awesome socks. They're Wonder Woman socks. You don't need that for the costume, but I wanted it to spice it up. So I also have this cape right here from Six Flags, and it was a Superman cape, but I just printed out paper for like the Wonder Woman logo and put it on top. And same with this, it's just cardboard, yellow Wonder Woman that you can put right in the center. Then also at Joann Fabrics, they have felt that's also a sticker, so can peel it off and you can just stick it onto your clothing. So you don't have to glue anything on your clothes, it doesn't ruin anything. And that's where I cut out all these stars. So there's 20 of these that I put on the pants. And then there's also her crown that she wears. It's literally just cardboard and a rubber band, so you can just put it on very easily with the red star in the middle.
Erica showed off her costume idea for this year. It only cost her $10, and it is sure to spice up your life.
This year, my friends and I are going to be the Spice Girls for Halloween this year, and I'm going to be Ginger Spice, and she's known for the British flag dress outfit. So I'm going to buy a blue shiny fabric from Joann Fabrics and make a dress out of it, and then for the stripes on the flag, I'm going to get white and red duct tape. So it shouldn't cost me any more than $10 to make this year's costume.
Now that's a cheap trick and treat. For DNews, I'm Rachel Violi.
This is also the night to meet and greet ghosts and ghouls. One way to do it is to take an historic ghost tour.
Take a step back in time to hear some haunting tales with Josh, a tour guide from Ghost Tours of Philadelphia.
Tonight we're going to be walking through Independence Park and Society Hill. We're going to visit the well-known sites such as Independence Hall, Carpenter's Hall, and also some of the less well-known haunted sites like the Bishop White House and the City Tavern.
During daytime hours, these historic sites are the typical tourist stops. But after dark, they take on a completely different feeling.
I have experienced paranormal activity on the tour before. When I was first learning it, actually, one of the cemeteries that we go to, I was walking around practicing and heard footsteps walking behind me and turned around. There wasn't anybody there. It was pretty unsettling.
Josh's favorite spooky story takes place in Independence Hall.
I think my favorite is definitely the story of the two park rangers who were searching for an intruder in the building that they couldn't see, and their superior said that the man they were looking for was standing right next to them, and they didn't see anybody there, but their superiors on the security cameras did see something. And then they weren't in the building much longer after that.
Josh says, typically ghosts aren't shy. He remembers when someone on the tour showed him a photograph they took of him at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Washington Square.
I was standing in front of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier where the Eternal Flame is. In the picture you could see me, and standing sort of right beside me over my shoulder there was this misty form kind of in a human shape. So that was a little unnerving and also really cool as well.
So, has Josh ever seen the spirit of local luminaries like Benjamin Franklin?
Sadly, no. It's been 8 years. I'm still waiting. I'm hoping one day I'll get to see him. That would be nice.
Still want more haunting? Ghost Tours of Philadelphia invites guests to share photos, videos, and recordings on their Facebook page.
I think everyone loves being scared, no matter how old or how young you are. And I've been telling these stories for 8 years now, and adults and very young children both get frightened at the same places, have the same reactions. I think everyone loves a good scary story.
And don't worry if you miss out this Halloween season. Ghost tours are given all year round. For DNews, I'm Brittany Hare.
We are halfway through the term, and freshmen are finding out about college life. We took an unofficial poll to see how they're doing.
Starting a new life can be really difficult when going to college. From making new friends to living in new quarters, you really don't know how it's going to go down. Let's find out what other freshmen think about their new experience here at Drexel University.
I loved having my own kitchen. I really like cooking, so it was nice to be able to bake in my own home.
So far, I love the race experience. The added space, your own bathroom, your own living room is definitely beneficial compared to the normal dorm style.
I'm part of an engineering learning community, so I really like that aspect of everyone having the same homework all the time. Everyone is helping everyone. It's really nice.
The bonds you make with your roommate or suitemate can make all the difference.
I knew all three of my suitemates before coming into Drexel, and we all knew each other from the neighborhood. We're all from the same neighborhood, so it worked out very well.
I really like my suitemates. They've become really good friends. Found each other on Facebook and then ended up really liking each other.
My roommate's kind of like an introvert, so she doesn't like to talk and socialize much, but we get along fairly well.
But dorm life and relationships don't make up for all of it. How about food?
I dig the north side. It's close in the wintertime. I wasn't a numero uno Hans fan, but, I can get down with the Hans. Food trucks are really awesome, but I gotta say, Joe's Coffee is where my heart is.
The north side and the food carts are definitely great. The Hans is usually a hit or miss. It depends when you're going, what time.
I love the food carts in north side, but I don't have that much money, so I can't eat there all the time. So Hans is a good backup when I'm not feeling like paying for food.
I love to eat here. Just swipe it, go to Hans, and you get whatever you want. You want to be a veggie for a day, I could be a vegan if I want to eat some meat.
But no matter what your opinion is on campus food, you can't really forget about Mom's cooking, now can you?
I definitely miss Mom's cooking. They ship some stuff up here, and you definitely miss Philly cheesesteaks, the original ones, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to do the dishes if she cooks, so here, someone else take care of that.
And you'll need to balance your academic and social lives.
The best advice I got when I first came to school was from a random person on the street, and they said, pretend that school and college is a 9-to-5 job, and then you can always have fun after 5 p.m. But remember, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., no matter what time your classes are, that it's work time.
Obviously, time management is a big thing that you have to learn how to do. If you don't learn it fast, it's gonna catch you, so you gotta learn how to do that.
I have a lot of homework, but other than that, I still have time to meet new people and make a lot of friends.
I'm used to traveling a lot, and being in the city again is pretty nice. I kind of miss the city life, and it's overall a good experience.
And I'm really happy to be in this environment, and I'm really glad that I'm here.
From hearing other freshmen tell their stories and experiences from their first weeks of college in Drexel University, I know for sure my freshman year will be just as good. For DNews, I'm Aditya J. Suri.
And finally tonight, new restaurants are popping up all over the Drexel corridor. One of them offers Japanese food with a twist.
Welcome to Kozara at 33rd and Chestnut, where Chef Chris Polikas says they're making foods that most American diners have never tasted before.
Well, the big misconception that people have about Japanese food is either sushi or hibachi, and frankly, it's so much more than that. Izakaya, which is what Kozara is, meaning small plates. Basically, it's an establishment where people come in, they drink, and then they also share food, and just kind of people gathering around one-on-one or groups of people, whatever the case may be, and just kind of sitting down, relaxing, having a nice couple drinks after work. And small plates just are meant to be not the highlight necessarily, but just something to kind of snack on and stuff while you're relaxing after a hard day at work.
So far, Chris says Kozara's most popular dish is a twist on ramen. They call it a bacon mazemen.
We have a bacon mazemen that's on the menu, which is a kind of a twist on a ramen. In Japan, mazemen came about as more or less like a staff meal for people. So it's like a very concentrated soup broth that's on the bottom, and then you mix it with the noodles. We put a poached egg, crumbled bacon on top, scallions, and a little bit of nori.
And Kozara has a very affordable happy hour.
Our happy hour kills it. Everybody loves happy hour, especially being on a college campus in this area. It's affordable for students as well as teachers. Anybody that gets out of school or work or whatever around that 4:30, 6:30 hour comes down, and you can't beat $2 drinks and $2 food. So
this local resident has become a happy hour regular.
All right, so I see you here for at the bar. Have you ever been here for happy hour before?
Yes, I have.
Do you have a drink that you've ordered before that you've tasted well?
Well, I like Yingling a lot. I'm from Kentucky, so it's not served there, so up here it's a lot better.
Have you found that it gets pretty busy around here between those 2 hours?
Yeah, it gets pretty packed, but I mean, they do a really good job at servicing your drinks and food. So
having the cheap options definitely plays well for us. Being on a college campus, students on a budget. It's also great just for the city in general to have a really cheap option for after work, after school, whatever.
And in case you're wondering,
sushi we have.
Now with sushi being on the menu, everybody loves sushi, so.
So, if you're on your way to the Hans, think twice. For DNews, I'm Emily Doblé.
And that's a wrap for this episode of DNews. Happy Halloween. I'm John LaRussa, and thanks for watching.
The production of DNews has been made possible with the generous support of the Cal and Lucille Redmond Institute for Entertainment Industry Studies, the Office of University Communications, and the Antoinette Westphal College of Media Arts and Design.